regarding the SNBI fields. The brief agenda of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what has been going on with our inspection dates within SIMS, detail how inspectors are supposed to be entering inspection dates moving forward with the recent updates to SIMS. I want to touch on using report filters within SIMS and creating your own if you want to. I want to outline some new output reports that can be attached to your PDFs within SIMS. Touch on the known issues that a lot of people have been experiencing and some workarounds to deal with those. Then Grant Cooper is going to touch on the updated manuals, and we'll do a brief SIMS demo and hopefully have some time to answer some questions that anyone has. If you do have questions while I'm presenting, feel free to type them in the chat, or you can also raise your hand and we could address those as they come up. So first, since we've adopted the SNBI, a lot of changes have had to happen within SIMS, a lot of coordination with Bentley to make those changes work appropriately. We were noticing really early on that there was an issue with the inspection date that was displayed within SIMS, not matching the inspection date that was entered by inspectors within the report. So this wasn't necessarily a compliance issue with the SNBI fields. It was more of an annoyance and a confusing issue when you're trying to find completed reports. They appeared out of order when you went to the asset info tab for a structure. And it was also what was displayed on the cover pages. This was due to some customization that was in SIMS. It was related to the old NBI inspection date fields as well as report types. When we transitioned to the SNBI, we were still balancing the old NBI fields and SNBI, so we had to make new reports, which basically broke this customization. So we had to work with Bentley to remove that customization, which occurred last Friday. And so those changes are active now. This mainly affected non-routine reports, so your update reports, NSTM, underwater, in-depth and pinned reports. It would only affect routine reports if the inspector input the wrong date. A lot of the times it seemed like inspectors weren't changing the year. They were changing the day and the month of the inspection, but not the year. So it looked like it was done in 23 or 24, which affected the new SNBI field, which is the due date. So it appeared that that inspection that you just did was overdue already. So we're trying to remedy that a few different ways. As you can see that image at the bottom there, this was an example of an update report. As you can see, the inspection date is listed the same as the last routine, but then you can see that the approved date on the right side was much later. So really it should be at the top, and the inspection date should be listed as whenever that update was done and whatever the date was input into the update inspection field within the report. But that is kind of what was happening. So to remedy this, as I mentioned, we removed the old customization from SIMS. We did some form edits, removing the SNBI inspection fields for begin date and completion date, and then added some more logic within our validation stages in order to calculate those fields, so inspectors don't necessarily have to fill in the date multiple times anymore. And as a reminder, that validation stage, once you change the workflow to either submit for PA review or approve report, the process runs every 20 minutes throughout the day. So the report will kind of sit there in those workflow stages for up to 20 minutes until they get validated and all these fields get calculated. So now moving forward, inspectors only need to enter the inspection date on the inspection info form within the report. This date when you start a report is auto-populated with the report creation date. So if it was created on 9/5/2025, the date in there will be 9/5/2025. And then you'll just need to go and change the one field to your actual field inspection date. This is now, the inspection info form is now the default. So when you open a report or create a report, it's going to be the first page that you see when you're in it. The other thing we did was add a field to track the number of days that the field inspection took. This is called days from start to finish. And it's used to calculate the completion date for a routine inspection. So during the validation, we know the begin date, and then we look at this field and use it to calculate the complete date, add those number of days. This is always defaulted to 1 day, so you don't have to touch it if you began and finished your inspection within the same day. So this is a glimpse of the inspection info form. I'm sure many of you have seen it. This is also where you would select your primary inspector. And as a reminder, the primary inspector needs to be listed, needs to be a team leader in order to have the report pass through validation. That's a SNBI requirement now. But up in the upper left, you'll see those 2 date fields. Really, the bottom date field is your inspection date as labeled. But you can see this is a report that was started, so those 2 dates are the same right now. And so you would click the little calendar icon and change that date to your actual field inspection date. And then back on your main inspection form, in this case it's the SNBI Bridge routine form. So this is the form where you've been using, you've been filling out all your component condition ratings and geometry items. This is where we made the modifications to the inspection section. So you can see the only things listed there are inspection type, note, and inspection equipment. So really the only 2 fields that you need to fill out would be the inspection note if that's applicable, and inspection equipment again if that's applicable. And then right below that, we added the days from start to finish. In this case, this report was already started when we created this field, so it's blank. It's okay to leave it blank. It's treated the same as 1. So, but new reports that are started today will have a 1 in that box. Some examples on how to use this field. So for a single day inspection, let's say a field inspection begins on Monday, 9/8/2025 and ends on Monday, 9/8/2025. BIE MnDOT, which is the ID we gave to days from start to finish, should remain 1. So the inspector will enter 9/8/2025 on the inspection info form and leave this field as 1. This will result in the begin date and completion date calculating to 9/8/2025. So if you have a multi-day inspection, say an inspection begins on Wednesday 9/3, and the inspector needs to go back on Thursday and Friday, finishing on 9/5, days from start to finish would be 3. The inspector will enter 9/3/2025 in the inspection info form and select 3 in this days from start to finish field. This will result in the begin date calculating to 9/3/2025 and the completion date calculating to 9/5/2025. And that all happens during the validation stages. And now a multi-day inspection with a weekend in between. So you're not may not necessarily be out in the field those weekend days, but they are in between the begin and completion dates. So we do need to account for those. So in this case, inspection starts on Friday 9/5, and the inspector needs to go back on Monday 9/8 to finish. Days from start to finish should be 4. This accounts for the weekend days in between. So the inspector would enter 9/5 in the inspection info form, and then select 4 in the days from start to finish field. This will result in the begin date being calculated at 9/5 and the completion date to 9/8/2025. So moving on to using SIMS filters. This is a helpful tool for people keeping track of reports that are assigned to them, or just reports that are open with all your inspectors in your agency. So there are several, we call them public filters, that are pre-populated for every user that has a SIMS account. There are several listed here that I think are the most used. I just wanted to briefly go over what they do. So the assigned to me filter, it lists any report that is assigned to whoever's logged in to that account. And this will show either in progress reports or reports that are waiting for review as well. Awaiting approval, so it's just that. It lists any report that's ready for PA review. If it's an agency that has assistant PAs, it could be listed here as well. So it might not only be the logged in user, but you can see all the reports that are awaiting approval for that agency. In progress, this lists all in progress reports for that agency or whatever agency you have access to in SIMS. In progress on device, so these are only reports that are in progress and created by you or whoever the logged in person is on that account. This is a new one that I made, reports in validation stage. So if you want to see what reports are actively being validated, you could turn this filter on. And again, it runs every 20 minutes. There really aren't that many structures that go through it at a time. But if you've been going through reports and just want to make sure that you're not touching one that's being validated, then you could turn this filter on to make sure that it is still in that workflow stage. 120 days with workflow comments. So these are reports that there was a comment made by either the PA or the team leader that are open and have a workflow comment. So a lot of time PAs will write a note, fail a report back, and write a note to the inspector on what to do. You could turn this filter on and see if there's any of those in your queue to take action on. Approved in the last 90 days. It's just that. These are all the reports that were approved within the last 90 days, and you'll see just the agency that you have access to within SIMS. You could turn this on and print from the filter page. You could print the PDFs just from the filter page instead of going to each individual bridge and finding the most recent report. Open reports in progress and awaiting approval. A little redundant, but it lists all reports that are in progress or in PA review stage for the agencies you can see in SIMS. I wanted to touch on how someone would know if a report is being validated and they should not edit it at that time. There's really no way for us to lock it down when it's in this stage. So what you want to look for is the column that says workflow stage. It's in most of the filters, so you'll see it pop up. But if that says submit for PA review or approve report, Those are our two validation stages, and the report shouldn't be opened up at that point. You should just let it disappear or change workflow stages. It'll either go to in progress or agency program administrator review are the next two workflow stages that it would go to. Or approve final report is the final, and then it's done. So here in these images, the top one is taken from the filter page. If you had a filter on, you can view that. But then on the bottom one, that's what you would see if you actually navigated to a bridge in SIMS. So it's just a little different location, but it still says workflow stage as the column header. Creating custom filters. So as I said, we have several that are pre-populated. They seem to do the trick for the most part, but if you have a specific need and you want to create your own, you can. Up in the upper right corner of SIMS under the search box, there's a green Manage button. So if you have a filter loaded already, you have an option to save as a private filter. And so that means that you pretty much copy it. And then you can modify that however you need. Otherwise, you can just create a new filter and you just have a clean slate, and you can start from fresh if that's what you'd rather do. If you choose either one of those options, only you can see that new filter. So it's not something that you can necessarily share with your coworkers in your agency, but they would be able to create their own and mimic yours. So the second step to creating a custom filter is you just give it a pretty descriptive name so you know what it is doing, and then enter the criteria. Some of the language in the criteria part is pretty SIMS, I guess it's SIMS language. So things like bridge number, it's not spelled out that way. Asset code is the bridge number. It's just another name for it, really. But that's how it's listed in the drop downs here. But you have things like assigned to, inspection date, workflow stage, approved date if you want to know about approved reports, and many others. And if you have a specific need, we have the ability to turn on certain fields to be allowed in filters. So if you have a suggestion or want something updated, just let us know and we can modify it. So the third section down is what you would select to what you want to see on your filter. So what columns you want to see. Most of the time you want the asset code or the bridge number, probably the report type, maybe inspection type, and then whatever other fields you want to filter on. The criteria isn't necessarily automatically added to the display column, so you'll have to go in and check each one of those boxes that you want to see. So then the third step here is just to select the sort order. So in this image, I had selected those 5 fields to display, and then you check the box next to whatever you want the filter to be sorted on. In this case, it's going to be sorted on the asset code descending. And then you click the Save button, and you got a new filter. Okay, moving on to the new output sections that were created. There were some issues with the existing cover page. Again, that was a custom Bentley-made product for us that was broken now with the use of the new SNBI fields. So I took a stab at creating my own, and it's all linked to the new SNBI fields, including the equipment fields, excuse me, and then location fields, all of that. So each report has a new cover page based on the report type. So the few things to mention with the cover pages, there still is a cover photo but within each report, a cover photo needs to be selected in order for it to show up. If you don't select it within a specific report, it's not like it carries over your selection from the last one. So each report needs to have a cover photo selected if you want it. The data is pretty similar throughout all the different cover pages. They differ slightly, like NSTM has a little bit more information, underwater has a little different information than routine, but now we can customize that. So if you're working with a routine or an STM or underwater or something like that, and you want to see something else on that cover page or have something changed, just reach out to us and we can make those modifications. I probably will be making some format changes throughout, but generally what's there now is going to be what it's going to look like. I did add a color binding to each one. Previously, this was a custom code, and it was based on the inspection year. I couldn't add that myself, but each report type has a different color code now. So if you have a stack of inspections, it's a good identifier. One problem that we had was the report reviewed by field was displaying this BMS API. Now that's our account that is doing the validation stages. And so when we actually approve the report, SIMS thinks that that user reviewed it. And so the field that was previously used there is what we call the metadata of the report. And so now we created a field to track who was the final person that was assigned the report, which would be the PA. So now it tracks that. So now it's going to read the actual person who reviewed the report. And then we added a state seal, new state seal. Another output section, this was added a while ago, so it may already be on your reports, but it lists all of the SNBI component condition rating notes, because they were previously listed on the element output form, and again, that's a custom form that we can't edit, and it's still currently listing the NBI notes. So now you could add this to your output report and see all of the new SNBI notes. It's just a separate page, may go on to 2 or 3 pages depending on how detailed the notes are. And then a third one, this was requested by a few people, but not every agency used this equipment form within the reports, but if you did and you want to reference what the old equipment fields were selected and compare it to the SNBI equipment fields, you can print this out. It does just that. It lists the NBI equipment, and then at the bottom there it lists the SNBI equipment per inspection type. So you can see what they did, what they used for underwater versus routine and NSTM separately. And I guess moving forward, I should mention that the equipment form within SIMS, if you do use it, we do plan on retiring that and only using the SNBI equipment fields moving forward, because those are required. The old equipment fields were really internal use. And mainly used for maybe underwater and NSTM, but eventually that's going to be going away. So if you wanted to compare and match up the two equipment fields, this would be a way to easily do it. So all 3 of those new reports, I guess with the minus the notes output form, you may need to add it to existing reports. So if a report was created prior to last Friday, 9/5, you will need to add those sections to the output report if you want to see them. If it was created after Friday, they will both automatically be ready to print And unfortunately, they're not going to be available for already approved reports, unless we unapprove it and reapprove it, but that's not the preferred method. So in order to add a section to a print report, the first step is just to go into the menu button next to the report. It looks like three little lines, or I'm sorry, three little dots, and you select View Report PDF. And then either at the top or the bottom, you click on the Add Sections PDF Attachments button. And then after that, you may need to scroll down a little bit in this box, but then you can check the box to the left of the section that you want to add. So all the new covers, they'll say Cover Routine Reports New, or Cover NSTM Reports New, Cover Underwater, so on and so on. So you select that, and then you click the Update button. Sorry, I forgot about my animations. And once you click Update, you'll get a little green message saying that it was complete, and then you can just go ahead and close this window. And you'll see it pop up at the bottom of the output list. What you want to do is change the order number to 1, and then click Save Order Changes. That'll move it to the top. And then also click the Print checkbox there to the right. And then you can view the PDF and it'll be attached. And again, you'll have to do this just for reports that were created prior to last Friday. All right, so other reminders, and I'm sure many of you have seen errors like this. But we are running into some bugs within SIMS. These are all just screenshots throughout. I mean, we're getting them as well. We're hearing from agencies that they're getting them. A lot of them seem to be related to this new IMS login that we are being forced to use. And I know Bentley is aware of some timeout issues with this, and they're working towards making it better. But in the meantime, if you do get errors like any of these, you can close out of it. And a lot of the time you can just continue working. Other times you may just need to log out, or it'll force log you out and log back in. It does seem to bring you back to the same place where you were, at least most of the time. But right now that is our workaround, is just to continue working. If you're actively typing in a note or changing a field, you may want to just verify that that data stuck, just to make sure that nothing was lost. I know some suggestions that we've gotten was that agencies will type out all their notes in a Word document prior to going into SIMS, and then just copying and pasting into SIMS, and that way you won't necessarily have to worry about losing too much information. But that is kind of your decision how you want to handle that. Another reminder, this says another bug within SIMS. So when a report is approved, it runs through our validation stage, and we use this tool that Bentley provided with their API to actually approve the report. And there's something missing within that tool that doesn't load the PDF correctly. So when you have an approved report that you want to print, first you have to just find the report, and to the right of that report is a menu button. In this case, it's 3 horizontal lines. You click that, and then you find Persist PDF again. Click that. It takes a couple seconds to run, and you'll get a message that it's complete. And then you can go back into this menu and click View Report PDF, and it'll load appropriately then. So this has been an issue for the last couple weeks at least. If a report is printed with photos, it's an outrageously large size, so it makes it really difficult to uh, email or share or even download. It just takes a long time. So Bentley is aware of this, and I know they are in their final stages of the review process of their fix. So the fix is coming. In the meantime, our workaround is, you download your report, and then within Adobe, you can save the PDF as other, and then you'd select reduce size PDF. And that really shrinks the size, and you'd be able to email it or share it some other way a little bit easier. It's an extra step, but it seems to work, and it does preserve the photo resolution pretty good. So if you do have a lot of photos on there, it still maintains what it looks like. So at this last year's seminars, we discussed these new AASHTO elements that were coming out. They are causing some issues, just how Bentley has adopted them, how they bring them into the system. Previously, all of the element numbers were numbers only, and now some of them are alphanumeric. And so because of that, Bentley had to make some changes to their database side, which our output reports, element output reports, are not necessarily linked to that change. So if we were to use them, not only would that be affected, but also all of our downstream databases and output reports, those would also be affected. So for now, we're going to hold off on using those new AASHTO elements until that can be resolved. For example, the deck drainage 340, that's the new element. We are asking inspectors to continue to rate 894, which is the current deck drainage element. And then whenever this gets fixed, we can work on migrating those over to 340. But in the meantime, just continue to use 894. This isn't, 301, we're moving that to 864 because the definition slightly changed. We do plan on doing this in bulk during the shutdown. But in the meantime, if you have or want to, you can absolutely copy the notes from 301, put them in 864, and delete 301 if you're going through your elements and want to do that. Either way works. Element 885, scour. We're just asking agencies to delete this element. We cannot bulk delete elements out of inspection or out of structures inventory. All of the notes that were in this element during last year's shutdown were transferred to the new scour component condition rating. You can verify that if you'd like, but they should all be transferred over. So you could just delete the element and continue rating the scour component condition rating. So there's this concept of an initial report. It's laid out in the SNBI that way. Really, it's intended to be the first record of a bridge or be the first record after a large rehab. We have decided that our unit will be the only ones creating these reports because we start the structure inventory when a bridge is open to traffic, and then we also enter rehab reports after we're notified of them being open to traffic again. So you will see it in the drop-down list when you create a report, but you will see that red error show up saying you can't do it. The reason that you see it is so that on the asset info tab, you could see our initial report and print it if you'd like. They're connected. I can't have it show in one place and not the other. So just for now, ignore it on the create report page. But no, if you want to print our initial inventory report, you can from the asset info. platform. Okay, I'm going to pass it to Grant. He's going to go over some of the manual updates.
All right, thanks, Joe. First, I put a link to our website in the chat, and then I'm also just gonna put a link to the new MnDOT culvert inspection entry guide. So we had, it's updated as of today on our website. We did do an update back in July/August, but we've done even more revisions just to match all of the inspection date changes that Joe just talked about. So as of today is the guide. It's currently updated on the website, so go download it, the newest version. And yeah, it has everything that Joe did. Oh, go back one slide, Joe. I just wanted to highlight a few of the revisions. Inspection equipment, you can leave this blank if no equipment was used. We've also done, I have some guardrail clear zone distances on suburban and rural roadways revised. And Pete also did some transition coding guidance revisions. Okay, now next slide. Another couple of revisions I want to highlight. I guess we do also have a list of the full revisions within the entry guide. This is just a couple I wanted to highlight. But the SNBI item is called the bridge deck width, and then we added on to the title barrel length out to out. So for culverts, this should be equal to the culvert barrel length. So from head wall to head wall, that's what you put in for this measurement. And then the bridge width curb to curb, this is the sum of all roadways carried on the culvert, excluding any raised or depressed medians from the measurement, either mountable or non-mountable. So we just decided to try to simplify this, that you got the example on the left, if it's just 2 lanes, there's no, it's not divided. You just measure from the curb to curb. That's your measurement. In the middle, there is a raised median. We don't know if it's mountable or not, but we're just going to exclude it from the measurement, and we'll just add together those 2 road widths from either side. And then on the right, this is also divided highway with a grass, like ditch median, and you'll also exclude that and just add together the 2 road widths. And that's your bridge width curb to curb. So similar for highway features, you should report 2 highway features for every highway divided by a raised or depressed median, either mountable or non-mountable. So essentially, if there's any type of median, report 2 highway features, unless the median is like a painted or a flush median. So if it's all just one, it's just painted on the highway, then just call it 1 highway feature. Otherwise, put 2. And then same for the highway maximum usable surface width. A roadway divided by any type of raised or depressed median should be reported as 2 highway features. And a roadway with only a painted flush median should not be considered divided. So I have an example down there which look like in SIMS. This is for a divided highway. We've got 2 highway features. They each have 2 lanes, and the max usable surface width is 32 feet for both. There's more revisions, but that's all I'm going to highlight here.
Okay, and in the new guide, sorry, I don't know if you mentioned this, Grant, but we did put a list of all the revisions within the manual, so you can review those there too if you'd like. So now we're going to do a little SIMS demo about what we discussed, just so you can see it. And again, just briefly, if you do have any questions, feel free to contact our unit's email, which is this bridge data requests email, or you can contact one of us or Pete directly as well. If you give me a moment, I'm just going to bring up SIMS here. Okay. See my screen? You good? Okay. So I need to just, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to be a team leader just so you see what you'll be more familiar with what this person will see. So initially when you open up SIMS, as many of you know, you'll probably end up on this report filter page. And it could be a various, whatever filter you have on is what's going to appear every time that you log in. If you don't see this page and want to, you can go up to Main and My Preferences. And here you can set your defaults on what pages show up when. And right here, this default home page, you just click this edit button and you'd want to select report filter. You can do all these other things as well. But if you want the filter page, that's where you'd want. And then to get back there, you can either go to main and click main page, or you can just click this icon here. You can do that at any point while you're in SIMS. So currently, I have this assigned to me filter on. I'll go to the public one. So this is the assigned to me filter. So it's only showing the report that is assigned to Charlie Brown. If I do in progress, so Charlie Brown has access to the whole state. So you'll see a lot more here. Zoom out just a touch here. So you as a logged in user, you only have access to certain agencies, so that's all that you would see on this page. But it shows all different types of inspection reports that are open, who it's assigned to, and the workflow stage that it's in. Here is the new filter that I created. This is showing all of the reports that are currently in the validation stages. So we have 3 that are in the final validation, and then 1 here that's being initially validated. I'm going to go back to in progress here. So if you wanted to take this in progress report and modify it to your own desires, I guess, you'd go up here, you say load the filter, go up here to this manage button, and save as private filter. That glitching on me. Oh, there you go. It did save. Sorry about that. So you see now the title changed to Charlie Brown in progress. So it puts the user's name right there. And then to edit it, you can click manage again, edit, change the name to whatever you'd like. I guess in this case, I'll just put test. And then you see the criteria is already listed here because you pretty much copied the existing filter. But you can add more just by clicking this button, and you can delete criteria by clicking the trash can. There's a lot of fields listed here. I guess if you have any questions on what something means, then feel free to reach out and we can help you put one together. And if you scroll down a little bit more, these are all the display fields. To add one, as mentioned, you just check this box next to it. And then if you want to remove one, there's a little gray trash can here. And then the last thing I mentioned was the sort by. So this is being sorted by 4 different fields. The start. Okay, so then you would just click save here. Let me take a look here. guess I'll show if you wanted to create a brand new filter with nothing, you go create new filter and this box pops up with nothing in it. So you'd be starting from scratch here. And then when you wanted to load it again, after you created it, you see up here at the top are all the public filters. You would see it listed here under My Filters. And as I mentioned, you're the only ones that can see that. So if someone else in your agency wants the same filtered, just take a screenshot of the criteria and they can recreate it in their own account. So here we're already in progress. I want to show how you would add a report section as I went over. So I found the report that I want to print. Click the menu button here on the right, view report. And so you see that this one has the old cover and it doesn't have any of, it has this is that one that I added a while ago. So it's probably attached to most reports that are open right now. But this is the notes, SNBI notes output. But I want to see the new cover. So I went view report and I'll click this add sections PDF attachments. And you'll have to scroll down just a little bit down at the bottom in this add report section. I want just this one. I might as well add this as well. I'll get rid of that for now. But I'll just check the box, cover routine. I want the new cover. This is the little green message that you would get. It's pretty quick. And I'll just close this. You see it pop here at the bottom. I'll change this to 1 and save order changes. So now it's up at the top. And the last thing to do is just to check the print box, and I'm going to uncheck the old cover. Just to view the one page, you can click this view button. Otherwise, you can just click view PDF and it'll print everything that's checked in this first column. So there's your new cover page. Looks like a cover photo was selected already in this report. Okay, so now I'll go to a bridge. And this is just a test bridge, so the data looks funny. So if I wanted to create a report, I'll go up here, up in the upper right. This is defaulted to be routine. So if you want to do a different one, you'll just have to drop this down. As mentioned, you'll see this initial dummy option, but as you see, I get this red error, meaning I can't make it, but we'll just leave that as a routine for now. You can, if you wanted to do a damage report at the same time, you can check the box here, or there's other places within the report to do that as well. Another change I guess I didn't mention before was we did put logic in the validation that if damage is selected but routine is not, the report will fail. So if you're doing a damage inspection within a routine report, both must be selected. But if you're just doing a routine, then you can just leave that as is. So now I just created the report. You'll see that the default, the very first page that you go to is this inspection info form that I mentioned. And over here on the left, you'll see your inspection date is the same as the create date. That's how it's going to be for all newly created reports. So inspectors are just to go in here and select the day and month. And this is kind of helpful, so you won't have to necessarily remember to change the year because it will most likely be within the same year that you did your inspection up until the end of the year. And then also here, just verify that this person listed in the primary inspector is a team leader. And you can change that by selecting a user here, moving them over and then clicking this Set as Primary Inspector if it's not the case. Also on this page, you can see the history of the structure, all approved reports, and later on, when you pass it to different workflow stage, this is where you would see workflow comments from your PA or team leader, as well as just the assignment history. So after I enter my inspection date here, I would just navigate to either the bridge, SNBI bridge or SNBI culvert forms, whichever one you are doing. And so some of the changes, we did add that inspection date up here. So the PAs could just verify that this date is correct when they're reviewing it instead of having to go back to that inspection info form if they forget. So you can just view it. These are all read-only fields. But the big changes are in this section, the inspection section. We removed the begin date and completion date. So really inspectors just need to add a note if only a portion of the structure was inspected. Otherwise, you can leave it blank. And then select your inspection equipment. Again, this is a multi-select field, so you can just select your access equipment, and then scroll down a little bit, and you can select your inspection equipment if it applies. Otherwise, we did get word from the FHWA that this can be left blank instead of having to select no access and no inspection equipment used. So this is the new days from start to finish field here. It's right below the section. As you can see, it defaulted to 1, which means the same day. But if you took multiple days to inspect the structure, you just go and select the number of days that it took. And then that is taken into account during the validation stage to calculate the completion date. So if you wanted to select a cover photo, I want to show that briefly, you would go over on the right, this add new photos and files. So there's really 2 ways to do it. You can either grab a photo from a previous report by going down to your photos section and click this icon. I don't know if I have any. I do. And these are just random, but say I want that as my cover photo. Scroll down and say attach file. You see this option here now. But if you, I'll just check that for now. That's all you have to do. The other way is to actually upload a photo. So you would select photo over here, go into your drive, and actually attach a photo. And you could also get that option here. So now whatever's checked in this box, whichever photo is what would show up there on the cover page. You see one gets unchecked as the other checks. Let's take a look. Okay, so then once I'm done with the report, if I want to move it on to the next workflow stage, you could either do it with these in this form. You can click that so like the report is open. You can do it here, change workflow stage. And this is what is defaulted, submit for PA review, and that's correct. And the submit to would be your PA that you want to submit it to. I don't have one in this case for this test bridge, but this would be your program administrator, and then you would click submit. Whoever is assigned to that report, within 20 minutes, once the validation is run, they will get a notification that it's actually assigned to them at that point. And then I guess in that case, when I selected Andrew as the PA, after the validation, his name would appear here as well. And this is the field that is used on the cover page to say who reviewed the report. So if somebody else is selected on the final stage, say you pass it between a PA or assistant PA back to a different person, this is recalculated. So it's really the last person to review will have their name displayed here and on the cover photo. And then I'm going to go back. I'm not actually going to do it, but I will show. So for PAs, when you're done reviewing and you want to change the workflow to approved, so you would do the same. You could either do it here or on the asset details page or within the report. You can click the menu button, change workflow stage. You'd want to pass it. And then you select the only option here besides blank is approve report. And there may be a name that gets populated here. Just verify that it's either you or someone that you want it to be. So in this case, I'll just select Andrew again as my PA. And so then in this case, Andrew would remain in that review by the field. And you'd click submit, and the report will appear to be open until that validation runs. And that may be where this filter could be used. So once you see a drop off here, that means that it would be approved and you could go and print that report now. I will show so these are all approved reports, approved the last 90 days. Let's take a look. I'll just print it all. See if we get the error. So this is the kind of error that you would get if you didn't persist the PDF. So we'll close that, go back, click the menu button, persist PDF again. It should just take a moment. Are there any questions while we're watching SIMS spin? No? So this is the message you get when it's done. And now we can go in and view it. So it's a little extra step to do, and hopefully Bentley can figure out a fix for that, add it to our tool, so we won't have to do that anymore for every approved report. But with that, I think, let's see. Oh, one other thing I want to mention. So on the state aid side, we did hire a consultant in order to collect some other SNBI data that we're not asking you to collect at this time. A lot of it is to do with span sets and substructure sets. So this consultant's going to go through plans and review photos and actually fill out this information. Maybe I typed it in wrong. You may see in your asset info, you may see a new report show up that is called SNBI data collection. And so that is just the report that we're having them fill out. So you may just see that in your report history moving forward whenever they get started. We're going to do a similar thing for state-owned bridges as well with district employees. And no, I think with that is all I had. If there weren't any questions, or if there are and you want to raise your hand, happy to answer any of those. And if you think of any